The Gerald R. Ford class is a class of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers currently being constructed for the United States Navy. The class, with a planned total of 10 ships, will replace the Navy's current carriers on a one-for-one basis, starting with the lead ship, Gerald R. Ford, replacing Enterprise, CVN-65, and then eventually taking the place of the existing Nimitz-class carriers. The supersonic airliner was restricted to subsonic speeds when flying over land or near coastlines, and current international regulations still limit the speed of commercial transport over land to below Mach 1, or the speed of sound, to avoid the disturbance of sonic booms over inhabited areas. Now, NASA is working to change those regulations by transforming the boom into a thump, paving the way for a new generation of quieter supersonic aircraft. The agency is doing so through a program called QueSST, which is the result of decades of research and is centered around a new aircraft called the X-59. Distant thunder. The X-59 is the latest in a series of experimental planes which include the X-1, which in 1947 became the first manned aircraft to exceed the speed of sound, and the X-15, which still holds the record for the fastest ever manned flight, set in 1967 at Mach 6.7. Designed and built by Lockheed Martin in Palmdale, California, under a $247.5 million NASA contract, the X-59 is currently undergoing tests on the ground, in anticipation of a first flight later in this year. It will be significantly quieter than Concorde or any other supersonic aircraft that exist today, says Craig Nichol, senior advisor at NASA headquarters. It's extremely long and thin, it's almost 100 feet long, 30.5 meters, but has a wingspan of only about 29 feet. The nose is a distinguishing feature on this aircraft. It's about a third of the length. Changing regulators. The crucial part of the program will start in 2024, when a series of test flights will be performed over half a dozen residential communities across the U.S., selected to offer a diverse mix of geographic and atmospheric conditions. That's going to be a fun part of the project, because we're going to engage with the public and generate a little bit of citizen science, says Nichol. Once the X-59 is flown over the selected areas, NASA will engage with the communities on the ground to gauge their response to the noise. The goal is to confirm the theory that a 75 decibel boom will be acceptable. The data gathered in this way will then be presented to the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, which is in charge of aircraft noise regulations, to persuade it to update them at an international meeting scheduled for 2028. A new generation. NASA believes that a change in regulations would open up the skies for a new generation of supersonic aircraft, allowed to fly over routes that aren't permitted now, such as New York to Los Angeles, and cutting flight time roughly in half. We don't know, however, what those aircraft will look like and who will build them, because the X-59 is not a prototype but merely a technology demonstrator. Nichol believes that such aircraft, with the ability to fly anywhere, would democratize supersonic travel, marking a stark difference with Concorde's luxury status. If you look back 100 years, a lot of the advanced mobility technologies, including railroads and airplanes, started out as premium experiences, but as technology advanced and costs came down, they became available to the general public, he says. One of the long-term goals is to make this form of high-speed travel available as a widespread application, and there's really no reason why it can't happen.